All right, let's go over some complicated stuff that throws off your ordinary guys, and that is doing layout on not only a radius wall, but in this case a canted radius wall, which, by the way, if you're curious about canted, canted means slanted. You can see how wide this is at the bottom. That line right there is our top track, so it's leaning from here to there. And then this is leaning from here to here. So both are canted towards each other. So how do you get your layout? Well, what you want to do, since our big radius was at the bottom here, we went ahead and pulled our 16s at the bottom and did our best to square it and then shoot a line laser up so we could get our clips right there. And then once we had our clips shot on, then we put the top track at the very top because it was a parapet, so that made it particularly difficult. Now, here on the ground, we actually have, since the top track is our bigger radius, that's where we have to pull our 16, because you want to be 16 at the biggest, not the smallest. So you pull your 16 layout around the radius, and then you can do your if you can do your layout before putting your bottom track, that'll help. In this case, we're just under a time crunch here, so kind of had to get this done while I'm at it. And what you would do is take your square, use the smaller side, but this is about as accurate as you're going to be able to get, really. And you can do it from this side, flip it over, and do that side if you're really trying to be spot on. But you want to be about like so, square that out, and then your mark. And it's kind of eyeball drywall on this one, all right? It's not going to be perfect, but you can get pretty close depending on how good your circle is, how smooth your radius is, how good you line up both points on your square. If you got like a square that's only maybe like 3 inches right here or something, maybe you can get it even closer, I don't know. But in this instance, we're pretty close, all right? So as you go around, you got 16, and then here we've got about 15 and a quarter, and then here we got about, hey, get back here, got about 15 quarter, so I can probably fudge that one a little. About 15, this one's where the radius changes, so kind of 15 3/8 there. Then we get into smaller ones. We got 14 3/8, 14 half. In between there, about 14.5. So I can probably tweak that middle one. Just kneel down something. 14.5, 14.3. So we're kind of ballpark, but you don't need to be exact, and the likelihood you're gonna be able to be exact is extremely low. And as long as you're close enough, that's what really matters. Because while you might have your top of your sheet being all right, it's just like with the exterior sheet thing on one of the previous videos I just uploaded. The sheet is gonna kind of rainbow down, or in this case, since we're leaning out, it's gonna rainbow up because it's smaller on one end than the other, and it's pulling a radius. So you can't just straight cut it and call it good. No, it's a radius. You literally have to shrink the whole sheet into a cone shape. Well, that's obviously not really possible with a sheet. So it's gonna rainbow because you're taking something straight and giving it a cone shape. Yeah. The drywall and dense glass, it doesn't really stretch. I mean, you can bend it, but it doesn't actually like stretch out, if you catch my drift. Now, second thing, when you're doing top track on a canted wall, any canted wall, it could be a straight one, which is usually the case, or in this instance, it's a radius one. Either way, this is how you want to do your track at any location where you are lower than your upper point, where your line says that's where your track is going to be. Because since it's canted, as you come lower, obviously it's going to come inward. So if you shoot that line, you're going to have a hump. You're going to start having a wave at every single one of those. So let's use a laser real quick. We're going to go about, I think it was about right there roughly. So that red line, that's where our track is supposed to be. Well, there we go. Let's see, can you see that? Let me tap the laser, give it a little wiggle there. All right, you can see that right there. There's our laser point right there, right on that track. How about that? That's some eyeball drywall for you. Well, there you go. That's roughly, let's see, about, oops. Yeah, it's about 5/8 in on this particular I-beam right here. Now, all of these are about the same. So you could figure roughly 5/8 in on each of these, but that's not going to be the exact case in every situation. It's not always going to be like, so let's go ahead and shut this off. Or you know what, let's move this over to right here. Alright, now we're on the line, and there's our laser. Oop. There's a laser right there. See? So that is something you absolutely need to pay attention to on canted walls, or else you're going to start getting waves. You're going to start getting a wave every time. In this case, we're leaning this way, so if we use that, it's going to dip in. Oh wait. Yeah, it's something you got to stop and think about. Yeah, in this instance, since it's leaning this way, it would dip in at every beam. If it was leaning this way, like the exterior wall is, it would dip out at each spot. So you really got to pay attention to that. So the easiest way to do that is to cut two studs close to where they go, lean them up, and then you can see he's got that clamped on my on our clips right here. That way they can still spray the fireproofing in between. But there you go. See, now that track is right where it should be. And that's something we'll have to do whenever you hit a beam. But as we go along, we'll get it. We'll get it. We'll get it. We'll get it. So that is how you work a radius wall with layouts, especially when it's a canted radius wall. When you do a normal radius wall, you just pull your layout top and bottom the same, but make sure you keep your tape measure tight. So maybe you need some clamps, and just pinch it, and make sure the tape doesn't move as you go, so that you're following the radius and it's not going straight. Like if you just hook your tape and pull, all of a sudden you start getting off as you create a straight line rather than a radius line, and then you're going to be cursing later when you sheet it with drywall or whatever your sheathing is. But yeah, so that's what you would need to do normally. Here I just did it flat across the floor and rotated my tape every 4 inches as I went around the line, and obviously I'm squaring it back. Do that there, and then here, this one is easier. This is a typical radius wall. So here I can just pull a normal layout, and we are plumb top and bottom. This is plumb, this is canted, so there you go. You can see, let me step back, and there you go. Now you can see the lean on the wall there. Super fancy. They're gonna have benches up against the wall with air duct vents, diffusers blowing out from underneath them all the way around. That's gonna be a skylight looking out, and then they're gonna have a fake fireplace right here. So it's the meditation room. So if you're ever out here at ABIA, Austin Bergstrom International Airport, just know that this little meditation room, which will have tile on it, this is the west face over by United and American Airlines, and also Alaskan docks there right now. But this was all me here. So give it a look if you're ever out here.